Well, we're going to go ahead and jump in here and get started. My name is Grant Andrew once again, and we've got both of our customer success managers, Chris and Chris, with us. Currently, if you want to be a customer success manager at EasyAgentPro, you actually have to be named Chris. And so it's not quite like that, but these guys are really some of our most experienced support folks, and who've really transitioned into a role that's focused on making sure that customers get launched well and have the support that they need, and that's really what we're here to do today as well. So basically what we're going to jump into is 4 areas of training. And so just to give you a little heads up of where we're going, we're going to talk about home pages and some of the changes to the new home pages app. Chris Tenarowitz is going to take us through that, kind of show us how it works. I'm going to walk through Bragwall, some of the changes and improvements there, and some must-dos that I think everybody that's got one of these needs to make sure that you're working on. And then Chris McHale is going to bring us home with a smart pop-up and the new Gutenberg editor. We've seen some questions there. We know there's some both positives and negatives, so we want to walk through that and just kind of talk about how it works. And then we'll be open to your questions, and throughout, if you've got questions, feel free to drop them in the chat box, and we will respond the best we can. We've got some other Easy Agent Pro staff here as well, so if there's anything that we can do for you, this is really intended to be, a significant touch point. We're glad that you're here. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be with us, and we're going to try to use that time as well as we can. So with that in mind, Mr. Tenarowitz, why don't you jump into home pages for us?
So what I have pulled up here right now is just our demo site. We're going to be talking about the home pages app, which I'm super excited about. It's something that we launched not super recently, but probably within the last 3-4 months or so. And what's really fantastic about it is that it lets you design and control the content that's seen on your homepage, just directly from your editor dashboard. And it's super easy to use. So, when you guys first get your site for the first time, we deliver it to you with a default template. You might not know that it can be changed. So if you're a new client, yeah, let's dive right into it. So the way I'm going to get there is just from the apps section, scroll down to home pages. Awesome. So you'll just see a short little descriptor here. Your home page is where your first impressions are made. We want to make sure that you have a design that you love and one that you think is really engaging for your area. So what we've done with home pages is set up a number of templates that are available for you now. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on templates here. And then you'll see the ones that we have available. We try to regularly add new templates to this particular functionality as time goes on. So the ones that you see here aren't all that we will have to offer. Maybe in the future we will be adding more. Yeah, so we have them sorted just by a few simple descriptors here. For example, if I click on Classic, we're just going to see some very basic templates. This one will probably look super familiar to you guys. Actually, I'm not going to cancel that. What I'm going to do is click Preview. And what's really great about Preview is that it lets you, view the actual page and how it's going to look on the front end of your site before you actually try it out and apply it. So, not only can you, so now it's populating content. You're going to see that this is going to look really familiar to you guys. This is going to be just the very basic classic template that we have, kind of grid layout. That gray background image can be filled in via the settings. I'll show you how to do that right now. But what's really cool about the preview function is that it shows you not only on desktop, but you can also preview it on an iPad and also a smartphone interface as well. So you'll be able to see exactly what this is going to look like to clients that are browsing from any number of traffic sources. So let's go back out here. I'm just going to go ahead and exit preview really quick. So you can preview any of the templates that way. So that's how Classic looks. Be very familiar to you guys. There's also another Classic type template that is more of a focus on IDX listings. That's actually the one that we have active right now. We have a few that are more seller focused. You might recognize this one. This is going to have more of an agent focus with your image. All of the text that you're going to see on the template in particular is going to be very seller focused in that way. As we go down here, so we got modern. I think that these really pop really nicely. This one in particular is one of my favorites. So I'm going to go ahead and just change our template right now. And it's really easy. So if you just elect to use a new template, you're going to see that it's going to change on the front end of your site instantaneously. So Any content that you have in the rows, in terms of, say for example, your text or, your business name or anything like that, that's going to be applied automatically to the template that you switch to. So I like this one a lot because it has the search bar up top and also just a video row as well. I think that's a super cool one under the modern templates one. And then we also have these really cool ones for buyer. So this is which we saw in the classic one before. And then also these two for luxury, which is kind of like a dark and a light version. So now you might be asking, how do you edit these templates once you actually apply it? That's super easy to do as well. So we've applied this one, that luxury kind of light mode. If I just click up here for settings, you're going to see that there are corresponding rows for all of these. So it's going to be your first row, your call to action, about us, your IDX listings where you would actually insert that short code. Also comes with a very easy short code builder as well, just to go ahead and allow you to get that built out. There's also going to be a section here for template specific. So any template that we see, so right here, so small text above form is going to correspond to down here at the bottom. Small text above search, same thing. So there's going to be template specific settings for each one, as well as just these standard ones as well. So you can change your first row, scroll up here again. Work with me to find a home you love. That text is edited right here on the main title and subtitle, as well as the button text, the button link. And the way that we broke those out is like, we consider this one row here. This would be the second row here for featured areas, and then so on and so forth. So that's kind of the long and short of it. Every homepage that you see is template-based. Any text is editable on it. The images as well. You just go that right here from photos and images. Okay, so it looks like the primary image does need to be refreshed. We can set a new one if we wanted to. Say, for example, this really great picture of Portland. Go ahead and save that setting. Pop back out here. Refresh our home page, and you're going to see that that image is now applied. So you'll find that there's an automatic overlay applied to the images to make the white font easier to read. So I definitely recommend if you guys are new or even if you're old, popping into this app, seeing if there's a design that you really like that's new, and just kind of taking it for a test drive. Any changes that you make can easily be reverted. All you would have to do is go back to your old template. It's really, really easy to change up the design of your homepage, alter some of the text. Like I said, all of that can be changed within the settings panel here. And you'll just find that all of these correspond to the different rows that you see here. So really, really fun way to add a little bit of more pop to your site if you've had it for a little bit, and to change up the designs. In addition to home pages, you're going to see another app next to it called Header and Footer. If you click on that, you're also going to see templates available for the upper area of the site. So we call this the header, the area that contains your menu. And then this call to action above it. We can really easily pop into here for templates. So, this is one that's really common. This particular template here does have a search bar, but if you're using a template that doesn't have a search bar up top, but you want that capability to be really readily accessible, you could change your header to one that includes the search bar. And then there's also kind of like very similar, a dark and a light mode of those, as well as a really simple template that just moves the logo up above the actual menu bar. And in addition to the header templates that we have here, we also have footer templates, really similar to those luxury templates. There's a dark and a light version, as well as just a super simple one. Yeah, again, header and footer, another really great way just to inject a little bit more personality into your actual homepage design. So I definitely recommend checking that out and taking it for a spin. I'm going to turn it over to Grant, and he's going to talk a little bit about the Bragwall app and the functionality surrounding that.
Appreciate that, Chris. That is awesome. Can you talk just a second before we drop off of that?
Sure.
If anybody has an older site that has, say, Video Modern or something like that, if they do make a change to a template, that's not as easily revertible. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so just be aware of that. If you're like loving this, you're like, wow, that's awesome. and click a couple buttons. You're like, well, I think I want to go back where I was. Is that something we need to that support can do, or what's our option?
Yeah, what I would recommend doing there, so if you are an older client that has one of the older homepage designs, is just, I would recommend reaching out to support before giving the Homepages app a spin, just so that you don't maybe lose, if there was any styling applied to your old template or anything like that. We don't want to lose that. So just make sure that you're in touch with us. We'll ensure that we can either revert back to that old info or get you set up so that you can do it yourself.
All right, so we have a couple of questions around how do you know if you have an old style? Can you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Matt and Jesse, it really depends on when you signed up with EasyAgentPro. So what I would recommend doing is just reaching out to support directly and just, kind of seeing what kind of homepage you're dealing with there. You can still use this app, no question. If say you're a client from maybe 8 months ago and you have a site that was built at that time, you can still use this app, but I just recommend getting in touch with us first, just to find out if there's anything that we need to do before you actually make use of it and employ it on your site. So can't see your last names, but if you want to, I'll chat with you directly here after I pass it back over to Grant, and then I'll find out for you guys. I can individually message you within this actual webinar. So I'll go ahead and do that.
I would recommend if you aren't using this, probably to do that as you have an opportunity, because I think the new home pages are pretty slick. They're very fast and really optimized for some of the challenges that we felt like we were experiencing, which is why we really kind of went back to the ground and redid home pages entirely. So if there aren't any more questions with that, I'm going to jump into kind of an exploration of Bragwall. Obviously, testimonials really important for your business, right? If you've done deals, you've had successful transactions, or honestly, if your mother fills out your first review, it's really important. And one of the things that I recently read, a book by Donald Miller, who talked a lot about how people want to go second. We want to go second. We want to know that it's safe. We want to know that other people have gone before us. And one of the major ways that we do that is with social proof. We've had Bragwall for a long time, but this was an app that we basically recently updated. And so I want to take you through some of the functionality there. There's going to be some similarities with what Chris talked about, but we'll also look at some of the differences. Once again, we have reviews, sort of the content. We have templates, links, and settings. So right off the bat on this reviews page, you can see your reviews. You can see the status of them. You can see what information is there, how many stars, and obviously we can edit. We've got some date information here. If we want to reorder these, it's as easy as just grabbing them. And so we can easily move things around on the page. That's very easy. So that is, that's kind of the starting point there. A lot of times agents get reviews from odd places, text messages, emails. Maybe you've experienced this. Somebody just drops you some information. With sophisticated online systems where you have to log in and place the review there and all of that, you can wind up asking your client to kind of help you out, or maybe you feel uncomfortable asking them that at all, and so you wind up not being able to use their feedback. Here you can just click add a new review, add a title, add review text, put a video link if there is one, drop an image in there, give yourself some stars, and hit save review. Reviews all look the same from the front end. People can't tell what you set up versus what your client set up. I do recommend that you use realistic sounding feedback. I used to have a client who would write his own reviews, and sometimes he'd helped businesses achieve a 12,000% increase in profit, which I think is a fabulous number, but I'm not sure it really sounds true. So I would recommend that you actually use real feedback here, but you can drop it in and nobody's going to be able to be the wiser that came from a text message and you moved it to your site. So you can also see my Bragwall, and this is linked up in your menu and can be linked or changed, moved around. So we'll look at that here in a second. You can also ask a client for a review. So that's a great feature if you have folks that you've already done. We'll look at that link and kind of how it works. So for now, let's jump over to see my Bragwall. So I do get this question a bit, so I'll just digress for a moment. This green bar is really only here because we're logged in. So if we weren't logged in, we wouldn't see this. You see this because you're logged in, and it's actually letting you know what that you're logged in, you can get directly to your dashboard into apps very easily. We're looking at this My Testimonials page right now. So this is based, the content is coming from the reviews. The look and feel is coming from the template. And so this is the page that we're looking at. If we go back here and we go to templates, you can see our Bragwall template options. Obviously here we can just change these very easily, whether with preview or we can actually just click use this template. If I do that, I go back here and I refresh. We're looking at a different template, as you can see. So easy to make changes to any of those that you want to. So once again, templates is really where that happens. In settings is where we're going to see, here's the slug, and then the name of the page. So these are, if you want to link to the pages directly, or you want to change what this says, maybe instead of My Testimonials, My Reviews, or Happy Clients, or whatever you want that to be, you can make that change right here and just save it. It's kind of the display side, if you would, right? So we have the content here. We've got choosing what kind of template we're showing, and this is going to drive basically what shows up on this page, and we can change the URL of this page in settings. So that's kind of all the standard functionality that you might expect. What I want to take you through now is kind of the other half of the functionality, which is how you can use Bragwall as a powerful tool to collect social proof and do it in a way that keeps you safe online from negative kind of reputational risk, right? So if we go back here to My Reviews, you'll see a link here for Ask a Client for a Review. And if we click that, we'll see Add Testimonial is the name of that page. And it says, leave a review. So how would you rate your experience? Now, myself, what I do with these types of tools is I would put this link in an email, send it out to some folks, and maybe people you've done transactions with previously, or you've interacted with extensively, and say, hey, would you mind reviewing me? So they're going to get a link to this page. And so this is an automated way to collect review information. Now, there's more to it, though. So if we look at templates, number one, on the template side, we have an Add a Review page. Currently just has this one template. So that's what we're going to see display-wise. If we go to settings, there's some additional settings around that. Here's how you change the link to Add a Review. But there's actually some negative review handling. And so what happens is when people see this, it's based on the logic here. If they give you, in our case, if they give us 4 or 5 stars, then what's going to happen here is they're basically let through the gate and given access to your links, which are set up under links. So what we're trying to do here is recognizing that Google, Facebook, Yelp, Zillow, these are the places that people go for reviews. These are the places that people believe are legitimate. So we want your customers to put reviews there. We certainly recommend that you pull some of that data back and add them via My Reviews. But people are going to help you the most in a Google or a Facebook or a Yelp if they're willing to go say nice things about you in a very public forum that's searchable and findable by everyone. That's going to be the most helpful to you. But we don't want to send people there unless they're satisfied. We don't want to give people that weapon, as it were, to go out and destroy your reputation in a very public forum if we're not sure that they're entirely satisfied with what they received. So in my case, I gave you a 4, and that's why you actually are looking at this, is because now I can click one of these and go on, or I can click right here and just write the review locally. Now, if we be able to refresh this page, and if we say, boy, we're going to give you a 2, then it stays right here, and it basically just says, please give us your information. And, we want to address your concerns. And so basically, this just collects a local review and submits it. And you're going to see it in here in My Reviews. You're also going to receive an email about it, and it shows up as a lead on your site. And it's going to say exactly what they said. So you can reach out to this person. You can figure out what happened. Hopefully you can make, some sort of amends or fix that problem. So basically, we're trying to give you the best of both worlds. Be able to send people to the places where folks go to look for agents and look for reputational information, but only do it when people demonstrate that they have been satisfied by what you've done. And of course, if people then go on to Google, Facebook, Yelp, whatever the case is, you can always pull that information back. We recommend that you edit it for some brevity, just kind of shorten it up and tighten up what you're saying there, and put it on your site. Just because of the way that we use reviews in some cases, it's going to look best if it's small. Now, once again, in settings here, there's a couple of other things that we can look at. The actual text that's on the brag wall, much like the homepage, you can completely edit that, put a main image, social share image, any of that information that you want to, and the same thing with the add a review page. So those go with the template settings. They're choices that you make. You can change the page URL, and then you can put all of this information in here. So you really have a full-featured social proof management system here. It isn't just putting reviews on your page. It's really a much broader tool than that.
Grant, a pretty common question that we get, and maybe we can just go over it here, is can we import reviews to Bragwall? And I think you covered that, but maybe do you want to just go over how you would maybe add reviews from an outside source?
Yeah, I mean, I fortunately, as you can imagine, Google, Facebook, Yelp, Zillow live and die themselves on the value of their reviews. And so there's very little appetite for opening up their systems to be able to pull those into other places, right?
That's correct.
So
that's correct.
That is not an option, unfortunately. Obviously, we would all love that, but that's not an option that we've got. So yeah, I would just go to your, wherever reviews are located, and just come to my reviews and add a new review and just bring them over. It can be really great. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just copy and paste from.
Just copy and paste, absolutely. And once again, I think it's great to edit. So if we take a look at this, you can edit this. So kind of the impact statement. If we look at how the template uses that information on this particular template, it's not really using that. So if you choose a template, my way here. Let's look at a template that will use this title as well. So you can see here that this template is going to use, if we click on preview, is going to actually use the heading and then the information. So let's take that, use this template, and then refresh this. This is what I really love, and as you were going through homepages, I was thinking this is really a process. It's sort of like you look at it, you tweak it, you play with it, you say, is that really doing what I want it to do? Is that communicating on my behalf in a way I'm comfortable with? Until you get to the point it is. So here, you say, wow, I really want to use those. Now you can edit your reviews so that you kind of have the impact statement that leads, as you see here, maybe a statement that the title is kind of a, kicker, and then you've got some backstory in the review itself. So yeah, you would just add a new review, edit those a little bit, stick a title in that has some impact, a nice short, kind of the meat of the review. And one thing I find a lot of times people tell a story when you ask them for a review, and so it can be really helpful to kind of edit past the story and take the part out where they really kind of hit the home run for you, and just put that in here so that it shows up on a homepage or it shows up in a footer in a way that is, has a lot of impact, especially for people who are not going to read the page and a half that your, endearing client wrote for you. Awesome. If we don't have any other questions on Bragwall, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mr. McHale, who is going to walk us through a couple of super cool features. So he's going to kind of show off some capability that a lot of folks kind of gloss over here, but has a lot of capability. So jump in and take us to smart pop-ups, Chris.
Thank you, Grant. I appreciate it. I'm going to talk about a couple different things here. The first app that I'm going to talk about is the Smart Pop-Up app. I like to call it kind of the underdog app as well. Smart Pop-Up app is located in the app section where Chris and Grant were talking about those two other apps. It'll be at the top for you. When you open it, this is what you get. And these are all created by random people, fun stuff, but all of yours will have one generic one popping up that you can edit on your own. The nice thing about these pop-ups, the reason why I like them so much is it's tough. It's tough to determine when the appropriate time for a pop-up to appear is. It's difficult to actually catch somebody with a pop-up because it's always in your face. It's blatantly asking for your personal information without really explaining specific things. So pop-ups can be kind of a detriment to a website, more of a hindrance than something beneficial. And what we've done is we've turned that around to make it something that can be beneficial, to make it something that people would want to click or that people would want to give you their information on. So it's another really great way to incorporate another call to action on your site for individuals to give you their information and for you to generate a lead. Really cool thing about pop-ups is they're completely editable. similarly to Squeeze Page. So they're all templated. You point and click and type. You do not need to know any wild type of coding languages. You don't need to know CSS or HTML. It's a really simple exercise. What you see here is we do have different ways to set it up. Ludicrous is pretty wild. This is, forcing the individual to give their information up every single time, whereas a smart pop-up that's set to smart mode will basically cache itself out once the individual is been captured on the form. So the smart one's what you ideally want to be set to. The aggressive and ludicrous modes are there as well if you do have some really, really juicy content that you do want to give out.
Chris, it's also great for testing. If you actually want to see your pop-up, you can go to Ludicrous. Then you can take it back from there, because that's a little bit too much.
It's intense. Yeah, it's definitely intense. But yeah, so it's great for testing. It's great for, like I said, that really juicy property that you want to show if you wanted to do that and be that type of aggressive asker. That's totally fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to create, what I want to do is I want to do the best of both worlds, where I'm showing you how Smart Pop-Up works. And then I want to embed the actual pop-up on a page that I use in the new Gutenberg editor. So you're going to see kind of the full shift of everything and how it all works. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a new pop-up by clicking the Create a New Pop-Up button. And then we have all of these great templates to choose from. There are calls to actions with buttons. So, you'll click the button, then enter in your information. You have a flat out form as well, which is super cool. And then you do have some other great ones that are full width. And these ones are really nice because they're going to pop up across the entire screen, or they look really, really decent in a blog post where there's a lot of verbiage and you want to separate that. This is something that you can definitely do. In this case, I'm just going to do a basic call to action. What I did do on this on the Gutenberg page, the page that I did design, it was kind of an upsell for Portland, Oregon. If I was an agent in Portland, I definitely want to talk about, the pluses of living there. But I did also want to include a small little piece for people who are interested in selling their home in Portland as well. So I get the best of both worlds on that page. So this pop-up is going to be embedded on that page. I want it to be there, just like I said, as just a nice little call to action for sellers on a buyer's page, so I get the best of both worlds. I'm going to select one. The cool thing about this as well, we do have a pop-up with a video embedment on it as well. This works really, really well as a pop-up that appears on, say, your search page, right? You can designate that this pop-up appears on the search page. It's you being, bubbly, happy, saying, hey, I'm glad you found the page to search for properties. It's simple to use. Check it out, right? You can give them step-by-step guides on how to search for properties, how your page works, the whole 9 yards, which is really, really cool. It allows you to add, a voice and movement to your name as well, which is really, really important. In this case, I'm just going to do a simple one with an image. I'm going to go ahead and click the template that I want. And then what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to be in the customize mode. And this is kind of the little tier tree that helps you realize what part of the process you're in for the actual pop-up. This one says, want to know the value of your home. I'm going to change it and designate it for a specific area because the page I'm doing is about Portland, right? Right. The cool thing, she's all right. I want to change it to a much better image that is more real estate related. So I'm going to pick the Pixabay image uploader here. We do have a connection with Pixabay, so you can use these free images. So I'm going to do a for sale sign. So we have the image. Obviously, that's a perfect square. This is more of a rectangle, so find something a little bit more relatable. But this is just to give you guys a good example. The other thing as well, maybe seafoam green isn't the best color to represent the Pacific Northwest, maybe for Florida or something like that. In this case, I can definitely change all of this information here, as well as give a redirect, which is really, really important. I'm going to do the button background color, and I'm going to do more of a green, a hunter green, because that's very Portlandy. And then I'm going to change this to right. And then it's going to ask for a redirect or a download. So I can give them a PDF guide if I wanted to. If I was giving away a guide to how to sell your home in 90 days, a guide to buying your first home, you could do that. In this case, I'm going to do a redirect to our home value page that's also associated with the site. So I'm going to copy this live link of the home value page, and then we're going to go ahead and slide it into the redirect link and hit OK. Now, when they when they hit this button, it should redirect them directly to that page where they can give out their home's information, and then we can easily get a CMA report for that property, which is really, really cool. You can say no thanks. You know, you can adjust the button as well. You can change it. I'm gonna do like maybe a nice brown for that. Right, so you can adjust the color there as well. Now this is the fun part, and this is what I really like, and this is where I think we kind of turn the smart pop-up on its head. Pop-ups, again, like I said, have always been notoriously annoying. Now the cool thing is you're in complete control as to where you want that pop-up to appear, making it a lot easier for individuals to navigate your page and not get frustrated with pop-ups popping up all over the place. If you want the pop-up to appear site-wide, you can click site-wide, right? That means that this pop-up will show up on every single page of the site, no matter how the person finds it. If you want this pop-up to appear only on your blogs, you can have it appear on the blog area of your website, and that is it. The pop-up will not appear on your homepage or any other pages that you have associated with your website. If you're doing IDX searches, again, this is a really, really great opportunity with the video one to help people understand how to navigate through IDX listings and the more pertinent, important information that they should keep an eye out for each listing. The other cool thing is you can do it to a very, very, very specific page as well, which I love. So if you do have a page that gives you have a custom page built, like I said, for Portland, I could just have it pop up on that page if I wanted to. In this case, the super cool thing that I love about this app is that you can also link or embed the pop-up into the actual page itself. So it's not a pop-up, it looks like it's natively put on the page for you, which is really great. So instead of you nagging the individual, it's a polite way of asking the individual for the information. I'm gonna go ahead and click that button, and then I'm also going to click next. Now I need to go ahead and save the pop-up. HVA Portland is what I'm gonna name it, just so I know. I'll go ahead and save it. And then if you notice, you'll get a direct link. What I want to do in this case is I do want to embed the entire pop-up onto the page because I have a lot of content on that page and I want to separate it out a little bit. The other cool thing as well is you can do it as a button. So if you wanted it to not just be a giant templated form, you could have the button there, they click the button, and then the pop-up will appear as well. So we give you a bunch of different options, a bunch of different ways for the pop-up to, like I said, not be a nuisance, but be more of a help to the individuals, which is ultimately the end goal. I'm gonna grab this embed code, and now I'm gonna go show you guys how Gutenberg works. So in your settings here, this is the dashboard of your site. If you click pages, and I'll show you right now in a new link so you get the idea. The page editor is very similar to the blog editor. The nice thing about this is all of the ones that you're working on or have been worked on or are posted are there. And then you have all of the information that you can look at. When you want to edit the page, you'll click edit page, or you can create a whole new one. In this case, I'm editing it, and this is Gutenberg in all its glory. So I did a brief little upsell about Portland. I did a little history lesson as well, and it's not so little, it's pretty big. And then I started talking about highlights in the city itself, what makes the city tick, what makes it so special. Portland's a huge one of the biggest soccer areas in the country. So I highlighted about the sports teams there. If you notice, I embedded the Portland Timbers, that's their soccer team, I embedded their Twitter. So, this is a live Twitter feed to anything that you want to embed. So if you have a really great festival that you know of, people who work in Austin or in Texas in general, you guys have huge music festivals, that's a great thing to put a live tweet of the music festival in the page. People near water, I've seen people do in like Clearwater, Florida, areas like that. There's a big power boat race there that's held every single year, or a big sailboat race. Great Twitter feed to post in there as well. If you notice, I did talk about food a little bit. I added a nice little image here, and then I gave a little highlight as well as embedding a map of all the best places to eat in Portland. The cool thing about this is every single one of these areas are little boxes, and these boxes are what allow you to add content, remove content, and edit content in the page. In this case, I have a huge amount of information here, and maybe in the middle of this where I'm typing, maybe I want to add another box and I want to add an image to break it up, right? So if you see there's a little plus button here, these are all of the different types of things, different types of tools you have available to you to add to the Gutenberg experience, right? So in the event that you wanted to add an image, I would click the gallery one or the image one and attach it. In this case, I'm going to break up this huge amount of information here that I have about the history with a picture of Portland. So I'll go to my media library. I'm going to grab the iconic sign, select it, and now there's this big, gorgeous image along with the information about it located right here. Now you can adjust the image size by clicking and dragging, going up or down with it, or you can do it here as well. If you notice, whenever I move to a different block, some tools do pop up for me. So there is text settings. You can adjust the color. You can adjust all of your other tools, bold, indent, underline. You can do all of the fun stuff that you normally can do with a text editor as well. You can add links, the whole 9 yards. So it's pretty robust. It's pretty cool, pretty slick and quick and easy to use. But now what I wanted to do at the bottom of this page where all the map is and all the food is, I also wanted to make sure that I can incorporate something for sellers. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus button and do paragraph. There we go. And now I'm going to start typing. And in fact, better yet, I should do a nice little header on it. And then what I want to do is I'm going to go back to my smart pop-up and just make sure I have this embed code. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to go ahead and paste that embed code. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the page. And now if I go to preview it, if I did everything right, my beautiful embedded call to action for people to give me their information on selling their house in Portland should pop up once the preview is generated. So it's pulling all the data. Here's all the information I had. I added that image. Now it's to the left. If I wanted to center it, it's very simple. I just go back to the image itself. I'm going to click it and I'm going to hit center. The other stuff, like I said, the Twitter feed will pop up. Your food and beer is all right here. And if I did it right, here comes the beautiful little pop-up that I had created. So that short code did pull up the pop-up. From here, I can get an estimate. It'll take me directly to the home value analysis page where I would enter in my information and you generate a lead. So Gutenberg has a ton of stuff that you're able to do with it. I know this isn't the best looking page. I've only had a couple of days to really mess around with it, but the amount of stuff that you can do with these with Gutenberg is unbelievable. You can embed YouTube videos. You can embed, like I said, Google Maps of all the locations, all the places to eat, great things that you want to upsell about specific areas. This is a great way to make some Google-friendly SEO content and highlight a lot of special things about the area that you guys serve. So it's really, really great. The pop-up works in conjunction with this. Again, if I didn't want it embedded, all I would do is grab the live link of the page and then paste it as the one area that I want this pop-up to actually appear in, which is really, really great. And that's pretty much Gutenberg, a little tiny version of Gutenberg. I'm going to keep working on this page. If you folks do want more highlights on it, we'll do updates on it just so you get an idea. But the really, really slick thing about it is you are able to go ahead and do anything you want. And it's all done with these really, really great boxes, which makes it super simple to know what section you're working on. And then you can move on to the next section. The blocks, like I said, are great. There's tons of different stuff. Look at the amount of embed stuff. You can create a playlist of the area for Spotify and embed it if you wanted to. You have an Instagram account, go ahead and share your Instagram account. Doing a great about me page on this is perfect with all your social media accounts. So the opportunity is endless. The world is your oyster when it comes to Gutenberg. Hopefully that helped a little bit.
That was great, Chris. Thank you.
And yeah, and like I said, I do want to keep working on this page and just really pretty it up. And we could do updates on this every other week if you guys like these classes. I'm still learning Gutenberg. It's pretty unbelievable. It's a really, really great tool.
We're going to continue to expand in terms of what's available in those blocks, especially as it relates to EasyAgentPro functionality around listings.
Yeah, let me show that. You're right. All right, check this out too. So I can't show you exactly how to embed an MLS listing to this page because it's a trial account for the MLS board. But what you can definitely do is if you go to, you go to widgets, there is a shortcode section, and you can definitely add that shortcode that you have. You can add your listings, and this is where it would normally pop up that you could pull those specified markets. Oh, here we go. It's going to let me do it. Super cool. Listings report. And then those markets that you've created, you can add them, right? So you can even add your listings to these pages, which is super, super slick. And it's all done with those great little blocks that you can add stuff to. You want to do columns, you can do columns. Again, the opportunity is endless there. The widget section is probably where a lot of the EasyAgentPro stuff is going to start loading up. You can even add your blog to it if you want to. So there's all kinds of really cool stuff.
Yeah. Any other questions? Lots of stuff here, and I know that what Chris went through there may have seemed overwhelming for some of you, may have just scratched the surface for some of you. I think the awesome thing that I love about that is some of you have done some stuff with content, and you can get in a little bit of a chicken and an egg question, which is, do I put a gate in front of my content and have an opt-in before people see and consume my content? Or do I give them the content and then find a way to gate them? Hope that they go to my contact me or do something else, right? This is kind of splits the difference. So you can put content, embed a link that has a pop-up, effectively a gate in it. And so you can put something in there and say, hey, by the way, if you're interested in learning more about this, or you want something, you want to get in touch with me about some aspect of this, or whatever the case is, click here. When they click, then it pops up. And so for that group of people, you have an opportunity to really connect with them, which is kind of what you're trying to do. So I think in that way, it's a powerful tool that gives you some some flexibility to do it both ways without having it be having to choose between which of these two methods is going to be most effective for you.
I mean, the smart pop-up for me, I really do think that it's a very powerful tool, and if done properly, done in a mature way, you're being more honest and upfront with the individuals instead of just constantly berating them when all they want to do is just check what your website's about. If you go on any other type of website that's a service website, not just real estate, how many times do you get a smart pop-up just blasted in your face constantly? I love the idea of being able to embed these things onto a custom page that you're creating, just because at that point you're no longer just thinking of them as a lead. You're helping them get the answers that they want. And the nice thing about it is, like I said, if you have a specific page for buyers, people who are interested in buying, the person who's interested in selling their house may have just ended up on there via Google search result, and now they're just trying to figure out how they can give you the opportunity to help them along the path of selling their property. This allows you to cover the best of both worlds, quickly, efficiently, easily, and it helps the individual navigate across the site in a better circumstance. So, smart pop-up's great. The Gutenberg thing is just unbelievably intuitive. It's super smart. I am not the smartest individual when it comes to building web pages compared to these two guys. If I can do it, you guys can do it. That's what I like to say. So mess around with Gutenberg, and please share it with us too. Send us an email to support@easyagentpro.com saying, hey, you guys gave me the opportunity to look at Gutenberg. This is the cool site. This is the cool page that I've created for my brokerage. This is the cool page that I've created for my team, or whatever. And there's all kinds of really cool things you can do.
Yeah, we appreciate your time. Appreciate your time this afternoon, and hope you have a very successful day and week. And we will talk with you soon.